everyone, this is Rain. I'm going to be showing off a collection that has been near and dear to me for almost as long, well actually, longer than the Warriors series. And it is by an author that's also from over the seas rather than from America, where I originate from. Yay! As if you can tell by my lack of an accent. Or rather a dialect. Anyways, today I'm going to be showing Brian Jacques's Redwall series. I loved this series as a child. I very much enjoyed the different dialects projected from various characters, and I really enjoyed some of the puzzles. Like, they really got you to think. The writing kind of slacked off towards the end of the series as, author getting a little older and stuff like that. Anyways, here we go. First up would be Brian Jacques' Redwall. I really enjoyed this book. I've read it I don't know how many times now. I think like 3 times. Just that one. And then we have Mossflower, which is not in chronological order to Redwall. This is actually what occurred before Redwall when they discovered the Abbey, or rather the area where the Abbey is going to be built. Metataimo is actually about the son of the mouse from the first book, Matthias. I don't know why they did that. It's just kind of weird that some of these are really oddly placed in timeline order. I mean, it's really cool world building, but at the same time, when you're getting thrown back in time and then thrown back into current time, it gets a little confusing because it's like, oh, I was reading a book from way back when, and all of a sudden I'm reading from here. Mariel of Redwall, I believe this is before Matthias, and around the time Martin the Warrior was still around. And this is out of publishing order, Martin the Warrior. The book that comes before is Salamandastron. Still cannot pronounce that word to this day. I feel so American trying to do that. But yes, because of the size of the books and my OCD, I try to keep them together. And here is what should have been next, Salamandastron. But I had put that one with my other small covered jackets. I wish I could have gotten them all in the big ones because I really love those covers. They're pretty cool. Up next is The Bellmaker, which follows the father of Mariel. And then we have Outcast of Redwall. I really love this book. It is one of my favorites because it does the nature versus nurture, where a ferret is raised in the Abbey, but he still possesses the traits of his kind, which in these books is evil, like liking to steal and all this other stuff. It ends very sadly for him. He ends up dying at the end of the book, trying to protect the one he thought of as his mother for a long time. Pearls of Lutra. This is about otters from the sea, I believe. It's been a while since I've read this, and I've only read it once so far. There's a few of them that I've read many a time. The Long Patrol. Yes, we get to follow hares all over this one, and we get to hear them saying, what, very often. I had always giggled when I was reading these books, whenever the hares appeared, because they're bottomless pits, and they always do the what, and it's just hilarious, considering a lot of times they're actually apprenticed to the Badger Lord. And it's just kind of funny because the Badger doesn't talk like that. He talks very proper instead of this kind of mix match. And it's just funny as heck. And the moles have their own dialect as well. It's really garbled, and there's a lot of things taken out. And then we have Moral Fox, the very first book I had got. And as you can tell, it's the 11th book, I believe. Towards the end, I got this, not this particular copy, but my very first copy of it, because I went through 3, was when I was about 13 to 14 years old. I was in junior high. Unfortunately, I lost that copy, and then I got a second copy. That one got damaged because, like a dummy, I left it in the car, splayed out on top of the dashboard, and all the pages towards the end of the book got melted. So this is my newest cover, and you see how all nice and pretty it is? Yeah. My camera messed up there. Let's see. I think I'm counting out the books because I'm a dork and didn't bother to do it originally before I did this video. But up next is Legend of Luke. I think I put that in the correct order. And then we have Lord Brocktree, another one that follows a badger. The badgers are pretty cool in these. I like the badgers. Tagarung. This is also another nature versus nurture, but in this case, it's an otter being raised by weasels and ferrets and so on, and he just does not follow the pirating way. He's like, it's weird, and yeah, that's another thing that I don't really like about these books, is that the author's photograph takes up the entire thing, and I'm like, I would like to have the, little story in the back so I could just flip and look for it real quick. But yeah, and I was showing off the pretty picture. Some of these have really pretty little watercolor things inside, and there's Triss, about a squirrel. Loam Hedge. This is about a traveling group that heads to where the Abbey is going to be. Rackety Tam with a Scottish squirrel. I'm just going by the tartan that he's wearing around his shoulders. At least it looks like a tartan. I might be wrong. Again, I'm American, so don't quote me on that. If I got it right, tell me in the comments. Then we have Out of Order. In fact, I took it away. Now we just gotta wait. This one, I to this day cannot pronounce. Eulalia. I don't know. I just know it's the badger's war cry whenever they go into like war mode. Hyrule. Yeah, that one I'll be like, yeah, just throw that one at me. I'll pronounce it all day. I don't care. Doom White, which is about the thief mouse's descendants. The thief mouse from Mossflower, if you've ever read it. I can't remember his name right at this minute. Part of me wants to go Gobbo, but I'm not sure if that's correct. But he hears the legend of his great, many times over grandfather or uncle or whatever doing this great deed, and he's like, I want to go on an adventure and be just like him. The Sable Queen. Honestly, I'll tell the truth right now, I skimmed the last 3, so it's kind of amazing that I remembered Doom White a little bit better than the other 2 that are coming up. But I know it's about a silver-furred ferret, and she has this big stronghold out in the middle of a lake that everybody wants to take down. The Rogue Crew. Again, I skimmed it. In fact, I'm not sure if I even fully read it, because at the time I was starting to get kind of tired because the books were starting to become very similar to each other, and it just kind of got to the point that I just started losing interest in the last few books, because they're all very similar towards the end. Like, they'll set up a story and it's like, yeah, these are different stories, but they all match the same beats. I mean, I love these books, but at the same time, it just gets a little boring when they all just keep hitting the same beats over and over again, instead of being like little different stories. And also, it's a little confusing with the chronological jumping back and forth. Like, oh, I'm reading about Martin the Warrior before the Abbey, and now all of a sudden I'm reading about him at the Abbey, and now I'm reading about somebody that's off in the distant future. I'm reading somebody that's even further back in the past. And, when you're reading these in order, the publishing order rather than the chronological story order, it gets a little confusing sometimes. I mean, they're all standalones in a sense, but they all kind of follow a timeline at the same time, so it's a little trippy. Again, I love these books. I enjoy them. I spent a lot of money on them. In fact, there's a couple of them that I've bought more than one copy of because I've lost them over the years. Or in the case of Marl Fox, it got damaged beyond repair and just did not set itself up for reading. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be doing some more collections a little bit later on. And I might also be doing a little tag thing that I really want to do. So, bye!